We are back with episode 2 of Material Energy Exploration. Kind of. Space exploration. I did exploration before. If you want to check that out, that's on CurseForge. Kinda turned out was very annoying parkour. That's what it ended up being. But we're back with our newest pack, 1.10, and we are in space. This is the planet, right now that we're orbiting, that I was showing off earlier. You can tell by the green atmosphere. And if we go over here to our orientation controller, we can actually start to spin our space station around. And we can also change the altitude if we want. Which doesn't affect anything too much, but the gravity controller does affect the artificial gravity of the station. As you can see, it goes down slowly, and it'll just go down to your target gravity. It's like your thermostat. It doesn't happen automatically, it just goes to whatever your target's at. So right now I can start to jump a little bit higher, a little less gravity. I'm feeling a little disorientated. At least we're not still moving. When you are moving, it does become very, very disorientating. So we're going to go ahead and turn that off for now. Over here we have our oxygen vents and our CO2 scrubbers. Takes in CO2, gives you oxygen, and if we were to go over here where I've built an airlock and we're in survival right now, it'll give us warning, no oxygen detected, and you'll start taking damage because you can't breathe in space. So to get down to the planet, there is a spaceport that I am building. However, it's not completely finished, as this is the only thing I've built so far. There is a teleport that will warp us down to the planet. And here we are, our planet. There's a couple launch pads that I built. Here is our rocket, which I might keep around. That is one of the moons. I still have to figure out how to actually change the icon of that, because that planet, I believe, might be the Nether, and that one might be the moon. However, I think they just randomly choose which icon to be, which it isn't the worst thing in the world, but I would like to change them. And I've gone ahead and I've added a couple recipes, just actually 2 so far. My plans for this pack are just to make the early game extremely easy, and we're going to try to ramp it up mid-game and late game to give it some sort of expert type feel. Things like FTB expert, all the mods expert, things like that. However, I always find those to be super grindy in the beginning, to where before it actually gets fun, you're just like, oh, I have 1 log, and you have to you get like 1 stick out of it or something. It's just ridiculous. And then I always found the mid to late game, the most interesting, where you have to actually use blocks and other things to accomplish goals set before you. Before you just have oh, I can do anything, I have unlimited power. It's always fun to always keep improving things, where I feel like something where Factorio succeeds in, but modded Minecraft definitely falls short. So when you make wooden tools, they're not very good. However, I just have it so you can go ahead and craft the lumber axe and the wooden hammer, so you don't have to take forever just to get wood, which is nice. However, wooden tools still are very slow, and you can definitely go for an upgrade. However, you're not stuck taking 30 minutes to chop down wood early game. You just have it, and it's there. And you still have to take time to actually chop down the trees, but, you know, it's a trade-off. So I'm looking for this accelerated early game to just get you up and running. As well as when you're at this planet, the first planet, you're not going to have access to all these materials that would actually give you very high-tech things. So your progression is somewhat capped before you actually reach the state where you can get to other planets. recently I did check with actually additions. They added some nice lush caves that looked really nice. They were like caves that have grass in them, they have trees in them, they have flowers in them, and I thought, well, that would be perfect to put on this planet. However, when I increased the frequency of the caves and I tried to load up Minecraft, I tried to load up a world, and it didn't load up because it just wanted to take forever to generate those caves. So I haven't really tested out the Origin actually mining, so that's what we're doing. We're just going down and seeing if we can find anything. Now all this moss stone has replaced all those silly other forms of stone, the diorite, the andesite, the granite, I believe. All those stones that were added, like 1.8, they just like fill up your inventory. You don't want 3 types of stone, so I just converted it all to one moss stone. I feel like it gives it a nice look for this planet because it's all like overgrown rock. You're starting to hear some cave spiders, I believe. I don't think it's night out yet, no. There may be a cave nearby. I did change it so that cave spiders should spawn below a certain Y level. Now if only you could repair this in your inventory. It doesn't look like you can, which is not too bad because all you need to do is create another crafting table and get another pick. Now I was thinking about whether or not having it if you can make just stone hammers right away with stone tools, but I think I was a little against that because I feel like that it may not be too much, but I feel like that would cross a line to where it's just like, oh, you're not really progressing at all, you're just automatically getting a ton of stuff, which I guess wouldn't be too bad. So there are cave spiders and there are baby cave spiders, and yeah, they are spitting cobwebs at me. So these guys are dangerous. I wonder, did he just poison me from a distance? I have no idea. I need to make a sword. I may need to change that if they are too difficult, or perhaps make them spawn at even lower Y levels, so you're safer mining down to maybe like Y level 30, but if you go below that, then you'll be swamped out by cave spiders, and I'm probably gonna die and respawn in the overworld. Unfortunately, when I hit respawn, most likely, yeah, this is the overworld, which isn't even done at all, but I tried to use set spawn, set world spawn on this dimension. I also tried sleeping in a bed. I tried installing perfect spawn to where you can just set the dimension you spawn in the coordinates. However, that crashed with advanced rocketry. So I put the issue on GitHub, and hopefully I'm going to hear back from the mod author soon, and I'll get that all sorted out. But like I said, I'll probably end up doing 2 types of episodes. Other than just updates, I'll be showing off. I'll probably play through it as I'm changing the recipes to actually play through and be like, okay, this seems like a reasonable amount for this. I'll start crafting it, I'll start using my resources and see if it's actually achievable. Because sometimes when you're not playing the actual game, you can forget about how much things actually cost resource-wise. And then I'll also be doing updates on the space station, doing some building of that. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take this rocket for a ride. It should be all fueled. It is set for the space station, and here we go. So these rockets, they take fuel, you have to build them. They are modular, like you put every single block and you build them, and they have different amounts of acceleration, of thrust, of fuel. It's very much like Kerbal. You build the rocket and based on the parts you have different weight, different thrust. You know, you can't just put a ton of blocks because you're not going to get off the ground. There's not enough thrusters if you just put a ton of blocks. Now I believe these rockets can get bigger than this. I'm not sure how much bigger. It may go up to like 9 by 9, but that's pretty decent. So when you get to a new dimension, and this is a little disorientating. You start like way up at like Y 1000, and then you have to press space to descend. And I haven't built a very nice landing pad yet, but we should enter right here. So we're going down, we're venting, and we're approaching the space station. And I did put a little hole right there, and we'll go down. But of course, when I get out, there's no oxygen, and I'll probably die. But as soon as you step in the airlock, actually on the other side of the airlock, because as soon as you go in the airlock, there's no oxygen. So that's it for this episode. I'll probably make a couple more this week, probably add on to the space station. I was thinking about using this as the main module and then expanding out from it. So we'll see you all